Hey folks, welcome back. I think I'm going to start doing a segment called Fishing Favorites. And in that, I'm just going to point out gear like this that I've grown to really enjoy. I'm going to point out lures that have never let me down, flies that are my go-to. Just that sort of thing, stuff that I've invested a lot of time in and grown to really enjoy. And today we're talking about the Gerber Linedriver. Now the Gerber Linedriver does many things. It's a line cutter. It's got some other bells and whistles we'll talk about. I've been using this thing for about a year and a half. I've put it through a lot of use. It's held up great. It's done what it's supposed to do. And ultimately, I really like it. It has a few little issues that we'll talk about. But I think that this is a very robust, very well made piece of gear you can add to your kit. And you'll have something super dependable. So let's talk about him. First and foremost, right out of the gate, the Linedriver is a line cutter, and it handles braid just fine. It does have serrated blades, if you can see those there. This one's a little grummy. I've been using this thing for a while, but it has no problems at all cutting through braid. Plop. And it has no problems at all with monofilament. Cha. Now, it does some things outside of being a line cutter as well. It has a vise down on this end. It also has an eye punch if you get any gunk in the eye, head cement, paint, anything like that. That's pretty handy. And this also works as a hook vise. We'll talk about that in just a minute. Up here on the front, it also will smash down split shot. And it has a eye threader if your eyes are not what they used to be. That's pretty handy. So let's talk about all those things. So with the hook threader, all you're going to do is catch that hook right in between the jaws. And then you're just going to take your line and you're going to feed that line down through the hole. It'll come out the other side, and that's got it captured. So if the eyes aren't what they used to be, or if you're a little shaky and you just need some help with that, it works pretty well. I don't use it too often, but it is a function of the tool. Now, another thing we have up here is the tip of this is meant for squishing down your split shot. Now, this is one of the elements of the tool that I'm not a huge fan of, because if you're getting much outside of the realm of fly fishing size shot, it doesn't really have quite enough gumption, in my opinion. That one, it just does get a decent squish on it. It's pretty easy to move it. But if you're getting too big with the split shot, this thing just won't do it. And I can forgive that. I mean, it's not a pair of pliers, but it works great for your small fly fishing size shot, and then also your small split shot like this. But if you're getting too big, just keep in mind it's not going to have enough bite that your split shot will even stay in place. This, while fishing, would stay in place pretty well, but bigger than this, mine anyways, just won't do it. So in the back here, we have a hook vise, and I actually use this more than I thought I would. If you do a lot of wade fishing, it's actually very handy because you can use this to manage your hook. Find what you need, hook, fly, whatever it may be, clamp it in there, and then if you have this attached to you, you can just let it go. It's managing your hook. Then you can deal with your boxes, your bag, all of that stuff, and it just frees up your hands. So I actually use this a lot more than I thought I would. When I first got it, I was like, I don't know about that. Don't know that I'll ever use that. Now it also fully rotates, so you can use this to help you tie knots, like so. So it kind of surprised me how much I ended up using this and how much I ended up liking this. And then the spike on the back is nice. That's always good if you're using painted jigs or anything like that that you need to bust an eye loose. You can use it to kind of poke old fishing line out of there, mono, braid, it helps you to clear an eye pretty well. But it's a nice little bonus. It's a nice little touch. I don't use it much for tying knots or anything like that, but I do use the hook vise option fairly often, especially when we're wading around fishing. So now the meat and potatoes side of this, the main reason I bought it, the line cutter. The line cutter is nice, it's serrated, it's nice and robust, and it's super dependable. I like that about it. It doesn't feel like it's going to break at any given time. It does what it's supposed to do. Now it has this little lock on here. I didn't really know what that was all about because it didn't close it all the way. I was a little befuddled by that. You would imagine that being fully closed, but that's all you get. But that being said, it has this pocket clip. So that allows you to clip it in your pocket or on a vest or something like that. And then you can just take the line through and cut that way. Now, I don't really use that often, but it is a nice little design bonus that they put in there. And now I see where they're coming from. I've used this for well over a year, maybe closer to 2, to be honest with you. Still sharp as ever, works just fine, has held an edge great. So really one of my only gripes with this is this thing is really wide on the front end, and you can see the blades are recessed in there. So something like with this wake snake, you just physically cannot get in there to cut off close. You can see all these long tag ends that get left behind. And I clean that up later generally, so it's not a deal breaker. It's just this is a fairly tight space, fairly tight angles. So because of how wide and big this is on the front and then how recessed those blades are, you just cannot actually get it in there. It just won't get in there. It's always going to hit at some point on the bait. So it's not like that with all baits. It's just depending on the bill, the angle, or how wide the head is, it can just be difficult to get it in there. So that's the only gripe I have on the line cutting side, is that is just a little too wide for some baits, but it's fine. I make do and then I just clean it up later. It would just be nice to not have to do that. All in all, I have grown to really like this tool. Gerber is one of those companies that for me has been really hit and miss over the years. They seem to be innovation over execution sometimes, unfortunately. But with this one, I feel like they really knocked it out of the park, and they made a very robust, very strong tool that I just actually feel is dependable. I don't feel like anything on this is going to break. I don't feel like I'm going to take it out one day and just some screw pops off and everything comes apart. I think this thing's going to stand the test of time, and I will just continue to use it pretty much forever. I think it's going to hold up just fine, and I appreciate that in things that I buy. We've done some Temu videos lately. All of that was fine and dandy. It was fun to check it out, but it's not great stuff. I like stuff like this that I just know is going to stand up. I know that it's going to be robust. I know that it's going to be worth the money that I put into it. So if you're looking for a really nice fishing multi-tool, this one is one that's worth checking out. Get one. You won't regret it.